All right, hello everyone. So today in this video, I'm going to talk about the value of language exchange, some experiences I've had doing language exchanges, and some tips I want to share. So I think language exchange is actually a very valuable activity to do when learning a new language. So I think what makes it so valuable is the fact that you are practicing with a native speaker. So I have some experience doing that. I've been doing language exchange now for the past 6 months, and I think it's been going pretty well. So not only do you get a chance to practice your language with a native speaker, um, that also leads to opportunities in forming friendships as well and understanding another culture much better. So I think that's what makes language exchange very valuable. And so in this video, I'll also talk about how you can find language exchange partners as well. So, um, in my case, I've only used HelloTalk. So I know that there's Tandem as well. There's some other language exchange platforms out there, but HelloTalk is the platform that I've used to find my current language exchange partners. So to my knowledge, I think it has more users worldwide than Tandem, but I think Tandem is a pretty good option as well. And I think the environment's more serious. But um, now, I think when it comes to when you should start doing language exchange, right? So I think it's possible to do language exchange as a beginner. So like maybe a couple hundred words, you can form simple sentences. I think you can start at that point. I think there are some people out there who would be patient and willing enough to help you out despite your level being low. But in my opinion, for me personally, I would prefer to start when I'm at around an intermediate level. So at the point where I can understand conversations about daily life, and I can express my own opinions on things, albeit with mistakes. I think that that's the right time for me to start doing language exchange, right? Because I think one thing to consider when doing language exchange is your level, right? So when when it comes to the context of Korean and English language exchange, right? Usually, Koreans have a much higher level of English, right? So if your level of Korean is beginner level, especially if there's a huge skill difference, conversations are mostly going to be in English, and then it's not going to be a language exchange anymore. So this is why I prefer to wait till around intermediate to do that when, conversation is possible. So, but I think nonetheless, so even if you are a beginner, it's a chance to make some friends. You can have someone there to keep you motivated along the way, even if the interactions are mostly in English. So, I think right now it's worth talking about how to structure your language exchanges, right? So, I think one easy way to do it is to set aside time to speak each language. So, this is more like the traditional approach. So, 30 minutes or some set amount of time. I do 30 minutes of Korean, 30 minutes English. So, that's the easiest way to do it. And I think, now for me personally, I prefer to pick topics in advance. So um, the things that I want to talk about, usually familiar topics or things I've been learning about recently, to kind of bring some structure to the language exchange and to make things a little more predictable. Because um, if there's no topic that's picked beforehand, conversations can get a little bit chaotic, or you end up talking about the same things over and over again. So like, hey, what'd you do? What you've been up to these days? That kind of stuff, and it gets very repetitive. So I think picking new topics in advance is the best way to push yourself to use new vocabulary and to encounter new words. So That's what I prefer. Now, I think another language exchange method that's very good is crosstalk, right? So I started doing that recently, and how I do that is where I speak English and my language exchange partner speaks to me in Korean. So what this is mainly for is to train listening. This is a listening exercise, more or less. And it, to be honest with you, it's actually very fun to do. So a lot of learners kind of struggle um, with being able to understand but not being able to speak. But crosstalk allows you to have a like a decent and flowing conversation without the strain of having to uh, string together sentences in your target language. You know, so in my experience, crosstalk conversations are a lot more smooth. Now, it has its place. It'll definitely help with your real time comprehension, but if you want to improve your speaking, you have to speak. So I have a day where I do traditional language exchange and then another day where I do crosstalk. But I think both are very, very valuable. So, and earlier I talked about HelloTalk and Tandem and other language exchange platforms, right? So, in terms of how to find a good language exchange partner, now for those who have used HelloTalk, and but for those who may not know, HelloTalk on there's a feature called voice rooms, right? So what this is, it's basically a live voice chat where multiple people can join and talk to each other. So on HelloTalk, you can join these voice rooms or make your own, and from there you can practice your listening. You can just sit there and listen to the conversations, or you can try to practice conversation that way. And honestly, I think that that's the best way to meet new language exchange partners than just sending messages, right? So before voice rooms on HelloTalk, you had to send messages to people directly and set up um, like voice calls or video chats. And of course, you have to go through a bunch of people before you found one that's right for you. So but I think voice rooms kind of makes that process a lot easier because when you're chatting in real time, you can hear each other's voices. I think that just that makes the interaction more meaningful than just sending a text. So yes, do voice rooms, and to my knowledge, I think Tandem also has a similar feature on there, so you can check that out. So and also you got to make sure um, skill level. You have to take that into account as well. I think ideally you should find a language exchange partner who has a similar level of English, or like, or if they're learning your mother tongue, a similar level to you. So that's ideally what you should look for. Um, let me see what else. I think, yeah. Another thing is though, it's like one important thing to look for is if you talk to them, if they're willing to speak to you in your target language. So, um, for one, there's a lot of people out there who only want to speak English or who only want to speak Korean. So, you got to make sure that they value a balanced exchange, that they're um, giving you some input as well. So that's another thing to look for when searching for a language exchange partner. So now, hopefully, I think that's all. So yeah, I wrote no script for this. I'm just kind of going off of what comes to my mind first. So this is a bit disorganized, but if you watch this far, thank you very much, and I'll put out some more videos here in the near future about language exchange and my Korean journey. So yes, thank you and goodbye for now.